You wake up when your body's ready. No alarm, no schedule, no place you need to be. You sit up, stretch, and ask yourself, what should I do today? For 99% of human history, this wasn't a hypothetical. For roughly 300,000 years, humans woke up this way. Modern humans spend about 90,000 hours of their lives working. That's roughly 1/3 of your waking existence dedicated to a job. But for the overwhelming majority of human history, jobs didn't exist. No employment, no wages, no boss, no career ladder. So what did people actually do all day? Let's start with what we know for certain. In 1963, archaeologist Richard Lee conducted a study that changed how we understand prehistoric life, tracked the daily activities of the Jew/Hoansi people in Botswana. He found that adults spent about 2.5 days per week acquiring food. That's roughly 17 hours. The rest of the time, they did whatever they wanted. This pattern appears almost everywhere anthropologists look: the Hadza in Tanzania, the Ashe in Paraguay, the Martu in Australia. Different environments, different continents, same result. About 15 to 20 hours per week spent on survival. For context, you probably work twice that. But those are modern people. How do we know ancient humans lived the same way? Fair question. The answer comes from bones. The difference between hunter-gatherer skeletons and early farmers is dramatic. Farmers were shorter. Their bones show signs of nutritional deficiency. Their teeth were riddled with cavities from grain-heavy diets. Their spines show arthritis from repetitive labor. And they died younger. Hunter-gatherers? Taller, stronger, healthier teeth, less joint damage. Their bones tell a clear story. Less repetitive labor, not more. But the most fascinating evidence comes from something that shouldn't exist: art. In 1994, explorers discovered Chauvet Cave in southern France. Inside were paintings created roughly 30,000 years ago. Horses, lions, rhinoceroses. These weren't crude stick figures. This was sophisticated art requiring skill, planning, and time. Not for survival, not for food, for beauty, for meaning. In Blombos Cave, archaeologists found 100,000-year-old perforated shell beads, clearly meant to be worn as jewelry. Someone walked a 40-kilometer round trip just to collect shells, then spent hours drilling holes with stone tools, just to look good. In Germany, researchers found a 40,000-year-old flute carved from a vulture bone. 5 perfectly spaced finger holes. They understood music, not for hunting, not for defense, for music. Across Europe, Africa, and Asia, sites are filled with decorative objects. This is what people did when they weren't securing food. So let's reconstruct today. You wake up around dawn. Fire from last night is still smoldering. Someone adds wood. You eat leftover meat or fish from yesterday. Maybe nuts or berries. Breakfast is social. People talk. They laugh. Around mid-morning, a small group might leave to hunt or gather. If the hunt was successful 2 days ago and food is stored, you might not leave camp at all. You might spend the morning making tools. This isn't work in the modern sense. There's no clock, no supervisor, no deadline. You do it because competence matters, because skill earns respect. If hunting happens, it's not the frantic chase movies show. Humans are persistence hunters. We track animals at a steady pace for hours until they overheat and collapse. The hunt might take 3 to 6 hours, including travel. Then the animal's carried back. Everyone eats. By early afternoon, the productive part of the day is basically over. What happens next? Nothing and everything. People rest. They sit in the shade and talk. They play with children. They groom each other, reinforcing bonds. They make jewelry from shells, beads, or animal teeth. They carve designs into bone or stone. They nap. Anthropologist James Suzman documented that adults spend roughly 6 hours per day in social time. Not working, not sleeping, just being with other people. Talking, laughing, telling jokes, because your survival depends entirely on relationships. If people don't like you, they don't have to share food when you're hungry. So you invest heavily in social bonds. Then the sun sets. And something remarkable happens. In 2014, anthropologist Wiessner analyzed hundreds of hours of conversation recordings. During the day, conversations were practical. Where were animal tracks? Which plants were ready? Who wasn't sharing fairly? But at night, around the fire, 81% of conversations shifted to stories. Myths, ancestors, spirits, impossible adventures, jokes, gods, religion, history, the future, things you can only think about when you're safe and fed. And people didn't sleep the way we do now. Historical records suggest humans once slept in 2 phases. Then a wakeful period of 1 to 2 hours in darkness. Then a second sleep for another 4 hours. So what did a full day look like? About 4 to 6 hours securing food or making tools. About 6 hours socializing. About 8 hours sleeping in 2 phases. And the rest? Resting, sitting, watching clouds. Then, around 10,000 years ago, everything changed. Humans in the Fertile Crescent began planting seeds and domesticating animals. Agriculture. And agriculture was a trap. Once farming begins, you can feed more people. More people means more food. More food means more farming. Within generations, populations exploded. There was no going back. Too many mouths, too much dependency. You were locked in. Farming demanded far more labor. The skeletal evidence is clear. Early farmers worked harder, ate worse, and died younger. But population kept growing. With larger populations came specialists, tool makers, potters, weavers, inventors. Then soldiers, priests, administrators. Eventually, jobs, employment, the idea that your time belongs to someone else. By the time cities emerged, the original human lifestyle was gone, replaced by schedules, obligations, productivity. Today, you spend 90,000 hours working. Your ancestors spent far less. You sleep in 1 block and they call waking at 2 a.m. insomnia. They woke naturally in the night and used that time for reflection. You spend your life chasing success by standards society invented. They woke up already free, already enough, with nothing to prove. They didn't need to become successful. They already were. They were living the life modern people spend decades working to retire into. You make art if you can find time after work. They made art because they had time. And that's what humans do. We traded freedom for food security, leisure for population growth, time for productivity. And maybe the real question isn't whether progress made life better. Maybe it's this. What did we gain, and what did we quietly lose?